Erev Tov Chavrim, I'm Steve Benoon. You're watching Israeli News Live. And friends, we of course gotten watching the news on everything that's going on over in Syria. And of course, it is getting more serious by the day, by the hour. And the Turkish military has been pushing deeper into Syria. They have crossed the Euphrates River already. And I'd gotten word earlier today, again, more intelligence coming out of Syria there, that the YPG, the spokesperson there, said the Turkish airplanes have attacked the watch post of the Jerkin prison in northern Syria. Jerkin is one of the places where ISIS and al-Nusra POWs are being held. Apparently they are trying to facilitate their escape. This is all in relation with things I've explained before regarding the keeping the Sardine line, as well as the plan to topple the Iraqi government and bring a Iron Man in from the Iraqi version of Abdul Fattah al-Sisi, the president, the Egyptian president. This is exactly what the United States and Israel would like to see in power in Iraq. So the plans from what we're seeing here is to get these ISIS and al-Nusra prisoners freed from the Kurds so that they can be reorganized and now begin the efforts to topple the Iraqi government. I was also told that they made the plan to bring ISIS back to life and use them to make changes in Iraq when Iraqi intelligence got the wind of it. And its goals, reestablishing ISIL with the focus of Iraq, rise of the General Saadi, and getting him toppled. They removed the general, and all HELL broke loose in Iraq last week with 150 people killed, and the story goes on and on from there. That's what we're getting reports as far as what's going on in the Middle East. And listen, I am really tied deep into the investigation now. I have said to you guys I would bring this information out. I know it has angered a lot of people, the things that I have been speaking about, but the time has come. It is time to bring this lot of information. I can only do a small portion of it. Because it is just so deep. We're talking about a major money laundering scheme that's been going on here in the United States. Even Mueller did not investigate the financial ties and the links and the corporations that are all linked together. That was not part of his scope there. And I got involved in this, friends, mainly because of the ties that I had with the government. And indirectly, the knowledge that I had of course, later discovering the money laundering and things like that was going on, the cover-up by former President H.W. Bush, his cover-up of the crimes in order to launder huge amounts of drug money here in the United States for the purpose of not only arming the Contras in Nicaragua, but also for the purpose of lining the pockets of politicians. Now we are looking at the corporations behind the money laundering schemes that are going on currently here in the United States have been going on. We're going to go back 25 years. It actually even crosses into some of the companies that I was familiar with back when I worked with the government as well. As far as the timeline there, we are going to be looking at a major money laundering scheme that's been going on in this nation, covering up the drug trail, that money being used from padding pockets of multimillionaires, Russian oligarchs, as well as politicians, businessmen here in the United States. And we're going to be looking at, I'm not going to go into the hundreds of corporations, but I will be going into a large number of these different companies, LLCs, who the owners are, what their involvement is, how their timelines are right there overlapping each other. We're going to be going into a lot of different people from even Maria Butina. I didn't even realize how much she was involved in this as well. Fred Strunk, Paul J. Manafort. We'll be getting to Dmitry Rybolovlev, Alexander Torshin, And the list goes on and on and on. Cohen, Roger Stone, I can't even begin to tell you. And one of the reasons why it's taken such a long time is because it's a lot of cross-referencing the information when we're dealing with these things here. And you want to see some folks get nervous up in DC and all around the country. I can just name some names of the companies we're going to be talking about just to kind of give you an idea. Just maybe, what would I say? A little small percentage, maybe 1%. All right, so how about Hugo Services, Harvest Group Wealth Management? How about Bridges LLC, Ukarat Technologies, Strategic Capital Management, Baylor Holdings out in LA, Columbus Nova Capital Holdings. Actually, it's Columbus Capital Holdings, but it's also part of Nova. RGO Holdings, Harvest Group Wealth Management. And, like I said, the list just goes on and on and on and on. Prevozon Holdings, Wesley Development Corporation in Knoxville, Tennessee. Big, I won't even name the name of this company here. London Bay Capital. Even President Trump's own corporation in 2012, Trump for President LLC, 2012, right after Obama was elected for president. Kind of an odd thing. Nobody knew about that, did they? But we're going to be getting into a lot of these different companies here and mainly cross-referencing the information so you guys are able to see how the names, the people that are involved in these companies, how that they know one another, how that they begin many of their limited liability corporations at the exact same time in order to launder money. Some of these companies are legitimate companies. Some of these companies don't even exist except for on paper. You will find out some alias names that are used there to cover up who the real owners are. And, anyway, we'll kind of put the ball out there and see where it rolls. And I know a lot of people, let me tell you something, friend. Let me put it like this here. Oh, and by the way, let me clarify one thing too. When I had put the clip up there of, what's that girl's name? She's running for president there. From Hawaii. I guess she's a congresswoman from Hawaii. No, it was not a support of her for president by no means. But the thing is, I put her on the broadcast yesterday because it confirmed the intelligence that I was receiving about what was going on and how that Trump was not taking the troops out of Syria. He was only moving them out of the northeast Syria. So I put her up there for that purpose there. That is not an endorsement. Tulsi Gabbard, I believe is her name. So, but anyway, I will say this, though. I have said about Tulsi Gabbard before, as far as the Democrats, she's probably the most level-headed Democrat running for president. And because of that, that's why you don't see her in the contending really as a real contender, because maybe she's not an insider, and that's the problem. But, anyhow, we have to wait and see how things are going to go here. I really don't know. But again, I only ask you, or I should say, we have to be honest, friends. I've had people tell me before, even like in the times when Trump and Hillary were running, they said it was, you had to choose the worst, the lesser of two evils. And then my wife made this interesting statement. She said, well, which evil do you think Jesus would choose? Which lesser of the evils do you think Jesus would choose? Well, exactly. Neither one, right? And no, Hillary was definitely no better. I agree with that. But that's not the issue. The problem is the Clintons had enough garbage that went on in their background with the very same things that I'm looking at right here. But I'd rather somebody be honest with me than lie to me. And it's one thing for us to cover up the crimes and then sound from the mountaintops that we have a great Christian for a president and he's draining the swamp, when In reality, it's not that way at all. So, would you rather be deceived and go on believing a lie, or would you rather know the truth? It's not too late for the Republicans to get a decent candidate in there that would be honest. I would much rather see something like that than to go about pretending that everything's okay. I'm going to be sharing some clips as well from Dr. Chuck Baldwin. He did a message just recently on the different presidents and stuff, and he also included President Trump on there when people talk about how great President Trump is. And he speaks about how that President Trump has passed more anti-gun legislation than President Barack Obama did. He goes into many different issues that a lot of us don't even think about. In fact, things that I didn't even realize. Executive orders that have been signed that take away your freedoms on a regular basis. And I think a lot more is coming. So, but anyway, the only thing I ask you, bear with me because it's a lot of information. I hope by tomorrow I can at least share a portion of this. Worst case scenario to be this weekend, but I will be very, very much. I've worked on this case for over a year. Well, no, a year, just at a year, maybe a little over a year now. But I did take some time off and doing the research. I was doing a lot of research on Lev Leviath, the Russian oligarch. I've done. In fact, I'll tell you something, friends. This is what made me change on President Putin of Russia as well. I used to think President Putin was actually a decent man. And I have to say, even like in the case of President Trump, both these men do have good sides about them. They both do have qualities that I appreciate in both of them. All right? But the problem is, I have discovered that both men are very crooked. Both men very much tied up with Chabad organization, which that's another issue altogether. Adam Green had brought out a video from one Orthodox Jewish man that published in depth how the Mossad helped to bring the Soviet Union under control. I can't put all this together in one place like that, but my point is, it made me change my view even on President Putin. I thought he was there in the Middle East to help the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, only to find out it was a total farce. Not at all. He wasn't there at all to help President Bashar al-Assad. He is there to help Israel to bring about a new world order. This is why both Trump and Putin have totally allowed the Turkish military to enter into Syria and to murder these Kurds. They say the Kurds are the best fighters. And by the way, let me speak of that on another issue as well. You know, you have these Kurdish women. Somebody just asked me about putting the chat in slow mode. I did. I moved it into slow mode, and I guess we just have so many people in the chat, I can't get it any slower. At least I don't know from my end how to do it. So I'll just make this short, and then we'll try to see if we can do something else about that again. I apologize, sister, on that. But we have a serious situation. Let me just say it that way. I'll leave it at that. You know, the Kurds have a lot of women that fight as well, protecting the Christians that are there, and they're going to be slaughtered right along with the rest, and that's a shame. Our own special forces witness on the ground said that the Turks were massacring the Kurds. That's from our special forces, and he said he was ashamed to be a soldier after what the president did. I'm Steve Benin. You're watching Israeli News Live. Erev Tov. Talk to you later.